Today on MTG Unpacked, it's release weekend for the latest Magic set, Edge of Eternities, and we're getting stuck into the Counter Intelligence Commander deck. So this one's pretty cool. Actually, I think the first time you can play an artifact spacecraft as a commander, so that's pretty crazy. What else do we get here? Collect Booster Sample Pack, 100 card deck with 12 new cards. Normally they would only have 10 new ones. Deck box, 6 double-sided token cards, 4 punch-out, strategy insert, and reference card. So let's get into it. So these go for $44.99 US. And let's see what we've got on here. Looks like there's some binary message. Somebody in a previous video actually decoded this. So if you want to freeze frame that, figure that out. Alright, so let's see what else we've got here. A collector booster sample pack, of course. And a whole bunch of other goodies. So here is the deck box. That reminds me of that thing out of Portal. There's the spacecraft. Very cool. We've got a flyer here about the deck. So playing the deck. Rules of Commander, in case you're new to the format. Different colors of Magic and what they stand for. And then here we have a cool poster. Some info here about the commanders. I still feel weird calling a spacecraft a commander, but I'm sure we'll get used to it. On here we have some punch outs. A bit more illustration there. Find local commander events. Alright, but before we get into the deck itself, let's take a look at the collector booster sample pack. I will note there are no counters or anything, life counters or any other extras that they used to have in these. Alright, there's more where that came from. Oh, a secret lair ad, of course, because they were at the Chaos Vault. They actually had a thing with these. Link in the corner in case you missed that video. Then we've got the Endstone Mythic. Okay, we did pretty well out of this one. And Specimen Freighter. So normally the collector booster sample packs are not that exciting, but that one turned out to be pretty good. Okay, so let's get into our deck here. We will be taking a look at the other deck this weekend as well. So a little bit behind schedule, but release time is always really busy. Let's take a look at the commanders here. So these are extended art foils. We start off with In Spirit Flagship Vessel. It's a mythic legendary aircraft. A legendary artifact spacecraft. There we go. So it's a blue, red, and white card here. Station Mechanic. So tap another creature you control. You get to put charge counters equal to its power on this spacecraft. And then station only as a sorcery. It's an artifact creature at 8+. Okay, so you got to keep putting the charge counters on it. So 1+. At the beginning of combat on your turn, put your choice of a +1/+1 counter or 2 charge counters on up to 1 other target artifact. And 8+, that's where it becomes a creature, has flying, other artifacts you control have hexproof and indestructible. And it becomes a 5/5. Alright, that's interesting. I'm curious how that would play out. And next we have Kilo Apogee Mind, another foil borderless or extended art. I think it's borderless actually. It's a mythic legendary artifact creature, robot artificer, 3/3 for blue, red, and white. Has haste. Whenever it becomes tapped, proliferate. So that means choose any number of permanents and or players, then give each another counter of each kind already there, both sculptor and sculpted. Okay, so there are the commanders. Next up we have a Patrolling Peacemaker. Artifact creature, robot soldier, 0/0 for 2 and white. This creature enters with 2 +1/+1 counters on it. Whenever an opponent commits a crime, proliferate. So they commit a crime if they target an opponent, anything an opponent controls and or cards in an opponent's graveyard. And we learned about Proliferate on that previous one. Insight Engine, artifact for 2 and a blue. For 2, tap, put a charge counter on this artifact, then draw a card for each charge counter on it. Then we have Othros Research Craft, artifact spacecraft for 2 and a blue. So it has the station mechanic. So we learned about that earlier. And for 3 plus charge counters, whenever you cast an artifact spell, draw a card, put a charge counter on this spacecraft. And 12 plus has flying. This spacecraft gets +1/+0 for each artifact you control, so it becomes a 0/8 creature at that point. Then we have Depth Shaker Titan, artifact creature robot, 5/5 for 5 and 2 red. When this creature enters any number of target non-creature artifacts you control, become 3/3 artifact creatures. Sacrifice them at the beginning of the next end step. Each artifact creature you control has melee, trample, and haste, so whenever a creature with melee attacks, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each opponent you attacked this combat. Then we have Long Range Sensor, artifact for 2 and red. Whenever you attack a player, put a charge counter on this artifact. And for 1, remove 2 charge counters from this artifact. You get to discover 4. Activate only as a sorcery. So that means exile cards from the top of your library until you exile a non-land card with mana value 4 or less. Cast it without paying its mana cost, or put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom in a random order. Next we have Moxite Refinery, artifact for 2 tap, remove X counters from an artifact or creature you control, choose 1, activate only as a sorcery. You get to put X charge counters on target artifact, or put X +1/+1 counters on target creature. Solar Array, artifact for 3, tap, add 1 mana of any color. When you next cast an artifact spell this turn, that spell gains Sunburst. Okay, so is that a new mechanic here? If it's a creature, it enters with a +1/+1 counter on it for each color of mana spent to cast it. Otherwise, it enters with that many charge counters on it. Then we have Surge Conductor. It's an artifact creature robot, 3/2 for 3. Whenever another non-token artifact you control enters, proliferate. Then we got a Glittering Massif, land, mountain, plains, tap for red or white, enters tapped, cycle it for 2. And Radiant Summit, tap for red or white, enters tapped unless you control 2 or more basic lands. Swan Song, instant for a blue, counter target enchantment instant or sorcery spell. Its controller creates a 2/2 blue bird creature token with flying. Chaos Warp, you see this in a bunch of commander decks. It's an instant for 2 and a red. The owner of target permanent shuffles it into their library, then reveals the top card of their library. If it's a permanent card, they put it onto the battlefield. I do like the new artwork on that one as well. Cloud Key, artifact for 3. As this artifact enters, choose artifact, creature, enchantment, instant, or sorcery. Spells you cast of the chosen type cost 1 less to cast. And Gavel of the Righteous, artifact equipment for 2. At the beginning of combat on your turn, put a charge counter on this equipment. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each counter on this equipment. As long as this equipment has 4 or more counters on it, equipped creature has double strike. And equip, pay 3 or remove a counter from this equipment. Battlefield Forge, tap for colorless or tap for red or white. This land deals 1 damage to you. Angel of the Ruins, artifact creature angel, 5/7 for 5 and 2 white with flying. When this creature enters, exile up to 2 target artifacts and or enchantments. Has plane cycling 2, so that means you pay that cost. Discard this card, search your library for a plains card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. Fumigate, nice board wiper here. Sorcery for 3 and 2 white. Destroy all creatures. You gain 1 life for each creature destroyed this way. Organic Extinction, sorcery for 8 and 2 white, has Improvise. So your artifacts can help cast a spell. Each artifact you tap after you're done activating mana abilities pays for 1. Destroy all non-artifact creatures. Brutal. Then we have Resourceful Defense enchantment for 2 and a white. Whenever a permanent you control leaves the battlefield, if it had counters on it, put those counters on target permanent you control. And for 4 and a white, move any number of counters from target permanent you control to another target permanent you control. So counters, that also includes the charge counters. Chrome Host Seed Shark, creature Phyrexian shark, 2/4 for 2 and a blue with flying. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, incubate X, where X is that spell's mana value. Create an incubator token with X +1/+1 counters on it and pay 2. Transform this token. It transforms into a 0/0 Phyrexian artifact creature. Then we have Cyberdrive Awakener, artifact creature construct 4/4 for 5 and a blue with flying. Other artifact creatures you control have flying. When this creature enters, each non-creature artifact you control becomes a 4/4 artifact creature until end of turn. Deep Glow Skate, creature fish 3/3 for 4 and a blue. When this creature enters, double the number of each kind of counter on any number of target permanents. That is ideal for this deck. Emery, Lurker of the Loch, legendary creature, Merfolk Wizard, 1/2 for 2 and a blue, has affinity for artifacts. So this spell costs 1 less to cast for each artifact you control. When Emery enters, mill 4 cards. Tap, choose target artifact card in your graveyard. You may cast that card this turn. Kappa Cannoneer, artifact creature, Turtle Warrior, 4/4 for 5 and a blue, has Improvise and Ward 4. So ward means you have to pay that cost if you want to target this creature. Whenever this creature or another artifact you control enters, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. It can't be blocked this turn. Phyrexian Metamorph, 0/0 for 3 and blue Phyrexian mana, so you can pay that with either blue or 2 life. You may have this creature enter as a copy of any artifact or creature on the battlefield, except it's an artifact in addition to its other types. Pull from Tomorrow, instant for X and 2 blue, draw X cards and discard a card. And Ripples of Potential, instant for 1 and a blue, has Proliferate. Then choose any number of permanents you control that had a counter put on them this way. Those permanents phase out. So the phasing here, treat them or anything attached to them as though they don't exist until their controller's next turn. Then we've got a Mythic, Tekothel Inquiry Dominus, legendary creature, Phyrexian Horror, 3/5 for 2 and 2 blue with flying. If you would proliferate twice instead. What? For 1 and 2 blue Phyrexian mana, remove 3 counters from among other artifacts, creatures, and planeswalkers you control. You get to put an indestructible counter on Tekothel. Then we have Thought Monitor, artifact creature construct, 2/2 for 6 and a blue. Has affinity for artifacts and flying. When this creature enters, draw 2 cards. Okay, so grabbing the next chunk of the deck here, and we have Universal Surveillance, sorcery for X and 3 blue, has Improvise and draw X cards. Chain Reaction, sorcery for 2 and 2 red, deals X damage to each creature where X is the number of creatures on the battlefield. And then we got Alibu, Ancient Witness, legendary artifact creature Golem, another Mythic, 4/5 for 3, red and white. Other artifact creatures you control have haste. Whenever one or more artifact creatures you control attack, Alibu deals X damage to any target, and you scry X, where X is the number of tapped artifacts you control. Joyra Weatherlight, Captain, legendary creature, human artificer, 3/3 for 2 blue and red. Whenever you cast a historic spell, draw a card. So artifacts, legendaries, and sagas are historic. Wake the Past, sorcery for 5, red and white. Return all artifact cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. They gain haste until end of turn. Then we've got Astral Cornucopia, artifact for 3 X's. This artifact enters with X, charge counters on it. Tap, choose a color, add 1 mana of that color for each charge counter on this artifact. Then we've got a Crystalline Crawler, artifact creature construct, 1/1 for 4, has Converge. This creature enters with a +1/+1 counter on it for each color of mana spent to cast it. Remove a +1/+1 counter from this creature. You get to add 1 mana of any color. Tap, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. Dark Steel Reactor, artifact for 4, has Indestructible. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may put a charge counter on this artifact. When this artifact has 20 or more charge counters on it, you win the game. Okay, so we do have another win con here. Empowered Auto Generator, artifact for 4. This artifact enters tapped. Tap, put a charge counter on this artifact. Add X mana of any one color, where X is the number of charge counters on this artifact. Hangerback Walker, artifact creature construct, 0/0 for X and X. This creature enters with X, +1/+1 counters on it. When this creature dies, create a 1/1 colorless stop to artifact creature token with flying for each +1/+1 counter on this creature. And for 1, tap, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. Then we have Lux Artillery, artifact for 4. Whenever you cast an artifact creature spell, it gains Sunburst. So we learned about that before. At the beginning of your end step, if there are 30 or more counters among artifacts and creatures you control, this artifact deals 10 damage to each opponent. That is brutal. Then we have a Lux Cannon, artifact for 4. Tap, put a charge counter on this artifact. Tap, remove 3 charge counters from this artifact. Destroy target permanent. Steel Overseer, artifact creature construct for 2. It's a 1/1. Tap, put a +1/+1 counter on each artifact creature you control. Then we have Threefold Thunderhawk, artifact creature gnome 0/0 for 7. This creature enters with 3 +1/+1 counters on it. Whenever this creature enters or attacks, create a number of +1/+1 colorless gnome artifact creature tokens equal to its power. And for 2, sacrifice another artifact. You get to put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. Then we got a Titan Forge, artifact for 3. For 3, tap, put a charge counter on this artifact. And tap, remove 3 charge counters from this artifact. Create a 9/9 colorless golem artifact creature token. Adakar Wastes, a land, tap for colorless or tap for white or blue. This land deals 1 damage to you. And Cascade Bluffs, tap for colorless or pay blue or red. Tap, add 2 blue, 2 red, or red and blue. Clifftop Retreat, this land enters tap unless you control a mountain or plains. Tap for red or white. Exotic Orchard, another land. Tap to add 1 mana of any color that a land an opponent controls could produce. Glacial Fortress, land enters tapped unless you control a plains or an island. Tap for white or blue. And Irrigated Farmland, tap for white or blue. The land enters tapped, cycle up for 2. Khan's Bastion, tap for colorless or 4, tap, proliferate. The Mycosynth Gardens, tap for colorless or for 1, tap, add 1 mana of any color. Or for X, tap, this land becomes a copy of target non-token artifact you control with mana value X. Rugged Prairie, tap for colorless or pay red or white, add 2 red, 2 white, or red and white. Shivan Reef, tap for colorless or tap for blue or red. This land deals 1 damage to you. Skycloud Expanse, for 1, tap, add white and blue. Spire of Industry, tap for colorless or tap, pay 1 life, add 1 mana of any color, activate only if you control an artifact. Sulphur Falls, land enters tap unless you control an island or mountain, tap for blue or red. Temple of Enlightenment, this land enters tapped. When it enters, scry 1, tap for white or blue. Temple of Epiphany enters tapped. When it enters, scry 1, tap for blue or red. And Temple of Triumph enters tapped. When it enters, scry 1, tap for red or white. Swords to Plowshares, instant for a single white, exile target creature its control against life equal to its power. I like the new artwork on that one. Tezzeret's Gambit, sorcery for 3 and blue Phyrexian mana. Draw 2 cards, then proliferate. Thirst for Knowledge, instant for 2 and a blue. Draw 3 cards and discard 2 cards unless you discard an artifact card. So it looks like we've got Tezzeret on that one. Okay, so on to the next part of the deck. We will cut down to the tokens here. Then we have Arcane Signet, artifact for 2. Tap to add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity. Pentad Prism, artifact for 2, has Sunburst. Remove a charge counter from this artifact. Add 1 mana of any color. Then we have Soul Ring in pretty much every commander deck these days. Artifact for 1, tap for 2 colorless. Command Tower, it's a land. Tap to add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity. Dispatch, instant for a single white, tap target creature, has Metalcraft. If you control 3 or more artifacts, exile that creature. Ethereum Sculptor, artifact creature of a Daukin Artificer, 1/2 for 1 and a blue. Artifact spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Experimental Augury, it's an instant for 1 and a blue. Look at the top 3 cards of your library, put 1 of them into your hand and rest on the bottom of your library in any order. Proliferate. Thrumming Bird, creature Phyrexian Bird Horror, 1/1 for 1 and a blue, has flying. Whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, proliferate. Then we have Enthusiastic Mechanor Artifact Creature, Goblin Artificer 2/2 for blue and red. Has flying artifact spells you cast, cost 1 less to cast. Then we got Core Tapper, Artifact Creature Mere 1/1 for 2. Tap, put a charge counter on target artifact. Sacrifice this creature, put 2 charge counters on target artifact. Etched Oracle Artifact Creature, Wizard 0/0 for 4, has Sunburst, and for 1, remove 4 +1/+1 counters from this creature. Target player draws 3 cards. Everflowing Chalice Artifact for 0, has Multi-Kicker 2, so you can pay an additional 2 any number of times as you cast a spell. This artifact enters with a charge counter on it for each time it was kicked. Tap to add colorless mana for each charge counter on this artifact. Then we have Golem Foundry Artifact for 3. Whenever you cast an artifact spell, you may put a charge counter on this artifact. And if you remove 3 charge counters from this artifact, create a 3/3 colorless Golem Artifact Creature token. Mindless Automaton Artifact Creature Construct 0/0 for 4. This creature enters with 2 +1/+1 counters on it, and for 1, discard a card, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. And if you remove 2 +1/+1 counters from this creature, draw a card. Soulguide Lantern Artifact for 1. When this artifact enters, exile target card from a graveyard. Tap, sack this artifact, exile each opponent's graveyard, and for 1, tap, sack this artifact, draw a card. Ancient Den Artifact Land, tap 4 white. Buried Ruin, it's another land, tap for colorless for 2, tap, sack this land, return target artifact card from your graveyard to your hand. Then we have Evolving Wilds, another land, tap, sack this land, search your library for a basic land card, put it onto battlefield, tap, then shuffle. Great Furnace Artifact Land, tap for red. Lonely Sandbar enters tap, tap for blue, it has cycling for blue. Mystic Monastery enters tap, so it's another land, tap for blue, red or white. Razortide Bridge, this land enters tap, has indestructible, tap for white or blue. Rustvale Bridge, this land enters tapped, has indestructible, tap for red or white. And Seat of the Synod Artifact Land, tap for blue. Secluded Step, land enters tap, tap for white, cycle for white. And Silver Bluff Bridge, this land enters tapped, has indestructible, tap for blue or red. And then we have basic lands, so not too many of these. So we've got plains, 3 of those, islands, 3 of those, and 3 mountains. Okay, so now we'll take a look at the tokens. So we've got a 3/3 token artifact creature Golem. On the other side, a bird flying 2/2. Then we've got another Golem on the other side, a Golem 9/9 this time. 1/1 gnome, token artifact creature on the other side, a flying Thopter 1/1, and another 9/9 golem with a 1/1 gnome. Incubator for 2, transform this token. And on the other side here, we've got a 0/0 Phyrexian token artifact creature. Another incubator and a Phyrexian. Oh, some cool punch outs here. So some charge counters, +1s, and so forth. Alright, so 1, 2, 3, 4 of those. And then parts of the turn, popular Magic formats. Alright, so this deck, a little bit different than what you would normally see with these artifact decks. We've got this new concept here. We've got these spacecraft. So those accumulate counters and then eventually turn into a creature. So I think this could be a fun deck if you want to check it out. They're available on TCG Player for not too much more than the MSRP of $44.99 US. So let me know in the comments what you think about this deck. Are you planning to pick it up? And stay tuned, we'll be getting stuck into the other Commander decks shortly. And if you've missed any of the Edge of Eternities videos on the channel, I'll pop a link in the corner to the complete playlist. Hope everyone's staying safe and healthy out there. Thanks for watching and have a great day.